Hey guys, Buffing Game Bat. Today we're doing another video, and today we're going to have a new video piggybacking off of a previous video I did, that being the weapon and ammo conversions in Battlefield 2042. So that was a video I did a few weeks back. I believe it was actually the beginning of September, so a few months back. And that was basically me theorizing what kind of ammo conversions would be in game and going through some different conversions we can make with the known weapons that Temporyal was able to data mine. Now, just the other day, Temporyal actually reached out to me, and he was nice enough to provide to me a list of the different ammo types that he was able to data mine within the Battlefield 2042 beta. So I'll go ahead and link Temporal's information down below over on Twitter for his information. He's releasing a lot of good stuff every day that he's able to data mine from different weapons, ammo types, hazard zone, things like that, portal. Now, I'll preface this by saying that he did mention to me that the ammo types here were mixed in. So we have 2042 ammo types mixed in with the portal files. So we have basically different ammos that are kind of convoluted. So it's hard to distinguish which is specific for 2042 and which is specific for the Battlefield portal, mainly that being Battlefield 3 weaponry. So we're going to run through these weapons, or at least the ammos, and I'll go through their corresponding weapons, and we'll go through the latest list that Temporyal listed for what was data mined for weapons. Obviously, this is not the final list of weapons, though, and if you want to go through, and I'll link the videos down below for my weapons that I spotted in the reveal trailer and the other trailers, because we do have some additional weapons that I was able to spot there as well, if you're interested in that. So let's go ahead and get right into it, and first off, the top cartridge here being the 545x39. So this, if you're not familiar, is a Russian assault rifle cartridge. This basically is, think of it as the 5.56x45 of the Russian military. So this is what was implemented in 1974 with the AK-74 pattern of Kalashnikovs, and was continued throughout all the continued evolutions of the Kalashnikov rifles. So we have the AK-74s, the 100 series, 200 series, and the 400 series, or the AK-12, or in this game, as it's called, the AK-24. So 545x39mm. Now we do have a couple different ammo types for this, that being just the standard 545x39. We also have 545x39 heavy, which, going back to the Battlefield beta, that could have been what that heavy round was just a heavier 545x39, probably something potentially like a BP, BT, BS rounds for 545x39. Again, those aren't listed in the files with the specific bullet, just that it's heavy armor piercing. So we have the standard 545x39, we have a heavy round, we have a heavy armor piercing round, and then we have a subsonic round. So subsonic round, we'll see this a little bit throughout the list here. Subsonic, meaning it's going to be traveling slower bullet velocity and also below the speed, or below the sound barrier. So it'll be much quieter of a round as well, typically. So slower bullet velocity and very quiet. Typically, probably, hopefully, if they do it right, you won't really need a suppressor on your weapon in that case. So 545x39, that'll be the AK-24 in game. Now, if we look at the Battlefield portal, what other weapons would potentially be firing this? We have also, back to Battlefield 3, we have the AK-74M, the AEK-971 are the two that come to mind right off the bat. We also have, as mentioned, the AEK-971. I'm pretty sure I potentially spotted the A545, which is the modern iteration of the AEK-971 from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. So the A545 is basically the modernized, updated version of that weapon, and I believe I spotted that in the reveal trailer. Again, we really didn't have a great shot of it, but that would also be firing 545x39mm. So those are the first rifle cartridges here, that being for the AK-24 in game, and obviously that'll be shared throughout some different weapons within the Battlefield portal. Another one there would be the AKS-74U, is that compact, short compact version of the AK-74 pattern rifles, also firing 545x39mm. So moving on from that, now we'll go to a NATO round, that being the 5.56x45. So this is the standard round that we know is going to be fired, typically your M4 pattern of rifles. So in game, in the beta, we did see this caliber as the starting caliber for the M5A3, or whatever that weapon was called in game, or the MCX SPEAR as it's known in real life. So that was your starting base standard ammo for that weapon. For the 5.56x45mm, we have just the standard, and then we have the subsonic round. So again, subsonic, slower bullet velocity, and it'll travel below the sound barrier, so it'll be a quieter round. So that's the only 5.56x45 weapon that I know of in the game. Now, obviously, there's things in the portal like the HK416 or the M416, the SCAR Light. Basically any westernized assault rifle will be firing this type of caliber, as well as I think something like the M110 as well from the Portal. So that'll be a caliber I'm sure we'll see rearing its head. We will also most likely see it with machine guns in this game. Something like the SAW. We do know that according to Temporyal and his data mines, the machine gun armory SAW K, or the compact lighter version of SAW, will most likely, I'm assuming, be able to take 5.56x45 as its standard ammo, as well as some of these other ammunition types that will go through here. But mainly what we know of right now, it'll be the 5.56x45 will be available for the MCX SPEAR, the M5A3, as well as the MGA SAW, the machine gun armory SAW. Those should be the only two weapons from what we know of so far with the data mine leaks. And then obviously from the Portal, we'll know the other westernized weapons, machine guns as well, like the SAW, like I said, will also be having this caliber as well. So moving on from the 5.56x45mm, now we're going to have the 7.62x39mm. So this is a weird one, and this is kind of going to lead to me doing some more theory crafting in a future video. Hopefully cover that on Friday, depending on where we are with the Hazard Zone content that's going to be released tomorrow. So the 7.62x39mm, we actually haven't really seen this in any Battlefield game in a long time. The only weapon that comes to mind from previous Battlefield is the SKS, which is that Russian designated marksman rifle, firing that 7.62x39mm. We also know that the standard AK-47 or the AKMs prior to 1974 obviously fired that cartridge as well. However, we haven't had a 7.62x39mm AK in a Battlefield game since Battlefield Vietnam, I believe. So I'm assuming this is going to be belonging to the SKS that we don't have data mined as of yet, and it could also potentially belong to something like the SVCH, which is basically the modernized SKS. Now, this is one that we do know is in game, so 7.62x39mm could be to that. I do also have a feeling that it could also potentially be to a weapon that we don't really know of yet. We saw teased, and again, that'll be in a future video. I'll go into much more in depth with that. So moving on now, we're going to go to the westernized variant of that heavy battle rifle round, that being the 7.62x51mm. So this round, we have the empty link, which I'm assuming is just going to be for machine guns. It's just going to be the ammo when the belt is empty, so it'll be the empty link. We have armor piercing, we have standard, and then we have heavy rounds. So 7.62x51mm. This is going to be fired by the SCAR H, which we know is in game. We've seen this teased already, as well as other designated marksman rifles that are westernized, as well as sniper rifles will also be firing this round, the 7.62x51mm. So definitely SCAR H or the Mark 17. We'll probably also see it potentially in the DDM4 Hunter variant here in the DMR class that we did see in the beta. However, we don't know specifically what rounds that was taking. We also saw the machine gun in game, the LCMG, or the United States Armament Company lightweight assault machine gun, also firing the 7.62x51mm. And there could be conversions. A lot of the bolt action sniper rifles and the DMRs could potentially also take this, and conversions for the MGA or the machine gun armory SAW K, which we discussed, could also have a conversion for this, as in real life it takes multiple different calibers. So that's the 7.62x51mm. Now we'll also see this in the Portal for things like the G3 and a lot of other weapons we'll see there as well. The M110, I believe, the SR25, basically, we'll see it with a lot of this caliber with a lot of different weapons. The M240 Bravo from Battlefield 3 will also be carrying or sharing this caliber in the Battlefield Portal. Now moving on, we have the 7.62x54mm. Now this comes with the standardized 7.62x54. We have the armor piercing and the medium variant for this. So the medium, I'm not sure if that's going to mean it just does the damage that it does. It's going to be a medium type of damage, being more of a well-balanced round. And I'm also not sure what that's going to look like for balance purposes. But again, we'll know more about that when we see that. But what is that? What weapons fire that? So 7.62x54mm, that's going to be fired by mainly the PKP Pecheneg. So we've seen this in a lot of the Battlefield games, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and here in Battlefield 2042, we have seen it in the trailer, and we've seen it teased also in some of the art, that being the PKP Pecheneg bullpup variant of the weapon. So whether or not it's a bullpup variant at base, or there's some sort of conversion, or there's two different Pechenegs, we're not sure yet, but the 7.62x54mm will be fired from that weapon exclusively, to my knowledge, and also the previous Battlefield Portal versions of that will share that caliber. So 7.62x54 should be exclusive to the PKP Patriotic Bullpup in 2042 and the previous versions of the PKP in the Battlefield Portal. Now moving on to the 9x19. So 9x19 Parabellum, we have the standardized version of the ammo, we have the light, and then we have subsonic. So again, subsonic, slower velocity, below the sound barrier speed of sound, so that'll be a slower round, it'll be quieter round. That's going to be fired by the PBX-4 or the LW, I forget the acronym for it, the SMG-45 that we did see in the beta. It'll also probably be shared by the Chris Vector. It was hard to tell if the Vector was firing exclusively 45 ACP or if the extended mag was 9x19. Again, it's not listed on the weapons, at least in the portal, so it's hard to tell what's taking what, but in real life, the Chris Vector does have a 9x19 variant, and it has a 45 ACP variant. Same with the SMG-45. It was even labeled on the upper receiver that I covered in my weapon video for the betas, which I'll link down below as well. The upper receiver was labeled 9x19/45 ACP. So we know that'll be a conversion for a lot of the different weapons. Now moving on here, down to shotguns. So we have 12 gauge, a lot of 12 gauge here. That's going to be the standardized 12 gauge. We're going to have the 12 gauge empty. Again, if your shotgun's just empty, that's probably, I'm assuming, just the visual animation for an empty weapon or a magazine, however they do it, whether you're going to pull the charging handle and realize that there's no rounds there, but it's probably just the animation file for that. The fletchlet rounds, we have 12 gauge long, 12 gauge short, and we have 12 gauge slug. So we have 6 different 12 gauge shotgun rounds. Now, in the beta, that'll be available, obviously, just for all the shotguns should share this. We have the Cry 612, the Saga 12, Remington 870 we did see in game, and we saw a lot of these rounds shared with that. Now, what other shotguns will be in game, I'm not sure. Obviously, this will share with a lot of the portal weapons. Hopefully, we get something like an AA-12. We know the Dow 12 and things like that are going to be there from the Battlefield portal as well. So those 12 gauge rounds will be shared with all of that. Now, moving on to sniper rifles. So this is interesting. The sniper rifle we had in the beta, very underwhelming in my opinion. And again, we're not sure what that fired. It was either 7.62 or maybe a 308 Lapua round or a 338 Lapua Magnum round or a Norma mag. Not sure what it fired, but we do know via Temporyal and his data mine leaks that the NTW-20, the Denel South African sniper rifle, the Denel NTW-20, will be coming to the game, and these ammo files that he sent me confirm that. So we have 2 rounds here, that being the 20x82mm, which is more of the anti-material round that this weapon fires in real life, 20x82. Again, this is a large caliber. And then we also have the sniper variant of this, so there will be an ammo conversion, which is something I was kind of bummed out we didn't get in Call of Duty's Warzone, but we will have the 14.5 conversion. So it's going to be 14.5 by 114 millimeters. Now, this thing should have extreme bullet velocity and range out of this NTW. The NTW, very large weapon. It weighs 70 pounds in real life based on what variant you're firing, whether it's the 20 millimeter or the 14.5. So 20 millimeters should be basically your anti-material rounds, take out vehicles, light armored vehicles, helicopters, things like that. And then your 14.5 would be more of your sniper rifle anti-personnel round, which you'll get those extreme long-range snipes. So the Denel NTW-20 taking both 20x82 and 14.5 by 114, which is pretty exciting to see that they'll have 2 different rounds available for that weapon. Thank God. That'll be very, very useful to engage vehicles and then engage personnel at longer ranges with very good bullet velocity. So that'll be fun. Next up, we have the 44 Magnum. So we have 44 Magnum Standard and Armor Piercing. Again, we saw this in the game with the Magnum that was available. Nothing special there, only the 2 rounds. Next up, we have the 4570 Marlin. So this is going to be 4570 Marlin Armor Piercing. We're going to have the Standard, Medium, and Range. So this is going to be that lever action Marlin, which is that 4570. This, again, is a weapon that was data mined by Temporyal. We don't have any imagery of it in-game or in any of the artwork yet, but we do know this will be in the game. And again, I believe this has also been in previous games. I think Battlefield 4 had this as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see that round make a return here, and obviously it'll share it with its Portal variant as well. Next up, we have the 45 ACP. So this only has 1 standard round, at least from what Temporyal was able to get out of the beta. Now, again, this doesn't mean these are the only rounds available. This is just what was available in the beta files. So the 45 ACP, this is going to be shared, like I said earlier, probably between the PBX-4 or the SMG-45, the Chris Vector, as well as potentially just a lot of the pistols will most likely be chambered in 45 ACP as well. So a lot of those weapons will see 45 ACP and 9x19 conversions. So I think that's what we saw on the Vector as well as on the SMG-45 or the PBX-4. So that is the 45 ACP round. Next up, we have 260 Remington. So this is a rifle cartridge. Now, this is a conversion. Anything that takes 308 in real life should be able to convert to 260 Remington. So this will be a rifle round, and I'm certain that the sniper rifles that are chambered in 260 Remington will have the conversion to the 308 rounds and vice versa. So 260 Remington, that'll be available most likely for the bolt action rifles. Some of the ones we'll see. Again, just a matter of which ones. With the TRG M10, I think, was the one we saw in the beta. So that one most likely probably took one of these rounds. We also have rifles like the TTS Exceed and the DSR-1, which potentially could have conversions for this. Definitely not the NTW, and this also could be shared with other weapons that we don't know about yet, as well as things from the Portal. So that's the 260 Remington. Next up, we have 300 Blackout. So this is exciting. 300 Blackout, we have the standard and the armor piercing. Now, if you're not familiar with 300 Blackout, this is basically, think of the westernized equivalent to the 7.62 by 39 millimeter. It is the dimensions for this round is 7.62 by 35 millimeter. And again, this was basically created to be kind of a similar round to that Russian 7.62 by 39 millimeter. Now, 300 Blackout, if you're familiar with me in the channel, the Sig Sauer LVAWs, or low visibility assault weapons, fire this thing. The MCX Rattlers take this, M4s can take this. So 300 Blackout. Now, I'm surprised there's no subsonic rounds, so it'll be interesting to see if this is going to be subsonic at base, or if it's just going to be standard 300 Blackout. Nothing listed for whether it for 300 Whisperer or anything like that, so we'll get 300 Blackout. Now, this will most likely be a conversion for potentially some of the assault rifles that we may not know about yet. I don't think it'll be a conversion for the MCX SPEAR, however, it very well could be. But the main weapon I'm thinking is going to be the MGA Saw K. Now, we've talked about the MGA Saw K quite a bit in this video, as taking all three calibers here, 5.56 by 45 millimeter, 7.62 by 51 millimeter, and now 300 Blackout. Now, in real life, that thing also takes 6.8 special purpose cartridge as well. So there's 4 conversions for that bad boy. So I wonder if it's at least probably going to have all 3 of those in game, and I don't know if there's going to be there's not a 6.8 by 48 in the game for an SPC round, but that could be something that maybe potentially could be added. So I'm excited to see 300 Blackout. Most likely, I'm assuming, is going to be for the Saw K, which will be here in Battlefield 2042. And then in previous Battlefield games for the Portal, I don't believe we've even had a 300 Blackout. So this is a new cartridge for Battlefield, to my knowledge. I don't recall it ever being in Battlefield 3, 4, or any of the Bad Companies, or back in Battlefield 2 either. So let me know if I'm wrong down below. Next up, we have 300 Winchester Magnum. So this is a rifle round. Now, this was typically fired, the main weapon that comes to mind here being the M24, or I believe it was the XM 2010, was the updated version of the M24 with the Picatinis, the whole new chassis, everything like that. So we'll see the 300 Winchester most likely on a lot of the sniper rifles being available as some sort of caliber conversion. Next up, we have 308 Winchester. So we talked about this as a conversion from anything that was 260 Remington. So we'll have 308 Winchester. This is going to be another rifle round. This will be the standard round. We'll have incendiary, and we'll also have subsonic rounds for this 300 Winchester. So again, that'll be the sniper rifles, probably something with the TRG 110, DSR, the TTS Exceed. Some of those rifles, as well as things from the Portal, will most likely be firing this or have conversions for this round. Next up, we have 338 Lapua Magnum. So this, again, is a sniper round. Most of the sniper rifles in game, minus the heavy anti-material rounds like the NTW and the rumored XM 110, or the Barrett XM 110, I believe it is. I'm probably mixing the name up. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but pretty much every other sniper rifle will fire this round or have a conversion option for this 338 Lapua Magnum for better bullet velocity and distance. So this will be another long-range round similar to the NTW 14.5 by 114. However, obviously not as large for sure. So I think the NTW will get the most range for any sniper rifle most likely in the game. I think the bullet velocity on that 14.5 round is just something ridiculous. But 338 Lapua Magnum, definitely going to be competing, and that'll be available for most of, if not all of the sniper rifles, minus the NTW. Next up, we have 380 ACP. Now, this is a 9x17 cartridge. This is coming, again, just a standard ammo round here. So 9x17, I believe this is going to be mainly a pistol round. We'll have to wait and see. Now, the PP19 Bison, I know, is also a data mine weapon here, and we did see it in the beta trailer. However, that thing takes 9x18 Makarov, to my knowledge. So I'm not sure what's going to be firing this 9x17 or the 380 ACP. I'm not sure what's going to be firing that. Have to wait and see what weapons. Potentially some pistols in the game here will most likely be firing that, or some other SMGs that we don't know about yet. And the last ammo conversion here being 22 Winchester Magnum round, that being the standard 22 Magnum, and a 22 subsonic round will also be available. So this will probably be something for the lever action conversion as well for the Marlin, as well as the DMR for the Caltech CMR 30 would be firing the 22 Winchester Magnum round. So this should be interesting to see here in game, and I think that's all of the ammo conversions of the ammo types that Temporyal was able to data mine. And again, he was nice enough to give those to me so I could run through these with you guys. And again, we didn't see 9x18 Makarov on this list for the Bison, so we also didn't see the MP9. The Brugger and Thummet MP9 has different caliber conversions as well, one of those being 9x19, 9x18, so we didn't see any 9x18. Other than that, I think we pretty much got every caliber that we would want to see. However, I did not see any 50 caliber cartridges on this list, so this obviously is not a complete list. There was also the 9x39. I asked him if he was able to see 9x39 anywhere, because obviously we know the AS Val will be in the portal, and if it's mixed with the portal, it wouldn't be a full list. He was able to find 9x39mm for the AS Val. However, we don't know if any base weapons in 2042 are going to be taking that round. But let me know what you guys think down below. We'll cover hazards down here on the channel tomorrow for that reveal. Let me know what you think of these calibers and the weapons they're available for. What weapons do you think will be available with these calibers in the beta? Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming with all of the known beta data mined calibers and different ammo rounds or types in Battlefield 2042. Till next time, Buffner Gaming out.